We did it! We're here. We're actually at the review of Computron after delays of the delays of the delay. Posting the technical bots for months. We're finally here. I am reviewing Computron! Hey guys, Maxmc55 here, and today we are reviewing Age of the Prime's Computron, made out of Age of the Prime Superion. So I kinda already explained why I got this idea in my scattershot review, but just in case you didn't see, I wanted to make a new custom combiner team, because I've been making them for, a while now, and I honestly really enjoy making combiners out of other combiners that aren't supposed to be those combiners, if that makes sense. And one of the easiest ones I thought of making was Computron. I knew what molds I could use. I knew how to make strafe. I knew what I had to do to make scattershot. The only ones I really struggled probably on was Afterburner, but even then I managed to make him. So with all the pieces falling into place, I basically just made Computron on a whim, having to wait months to get Silver Ball just so I can combine them. Still waiting to combine my Lio Kaiser. But with all the pieces now here, I can finally say this is definitely my best combiner custom I have ever made, and it sits on my top shelf with all my shockwaves. This shelf is supposed to be dedicated to just shockwave, but he's here because he's magnificento. Now I won't be talking about details on this combiner that have already been talked about in the other videos, like Scattershot's back cannon and Afterburner's Afterburner. This video is strictly about the combiner, the paints that I use, how I attach everything, and just why I've done everything that is here. So if you want a more in-depth review on just the members, please check out my playlist and try and find the combiners, because listen, there's a lot of reviews in there. But first, I think we should break down these segments into limb parts. So first, we're going to talk about the arms, because they're identical and they're the easiest. I literally just did a repaint. There's nothing really much to talk about, except I did remove those little wing flaps, because if you don't know, this thing doesn't transform anymore. This is a completely immobile skeleton. It just stands here and it does nothing. So I removed all the jet parts to have a more cleaner and sleeker build, and I quite enjoy it a lot. Fun fact, the red on the strafe arm is actually just a plastic red from Superion. It didn't even have to paint it, so that came in handy. And all the black on the arms are still plastic. They weren't painted either. Paints for the arms. For the Afterburner version, we used orange paint, some black paint, and dull red. For the strafe version, we used pure white, dull red, and that's it. Now we get to talk about the legs, and yes, they're swapped. I know, I'm sorry. When I was spray painting the legs, I realized I painted the wrong side when I did the ankle tilts, and I just realized, I was like, oh no, nose cone's supposed to be on the other side, and you know what? Does it matter? Like, seriously, does Computron really have, it's the same with Menasor. Do you really matter? Does it really matter where Wild Rider and Breakdown goes? No, because you don't see it. Who cares? It's a leg! Also, I will be talking about this more when we fully combine the combiner, but I like the way the oranges complement each other and the reds complement each other on each side instead of being inverted. It's just a nice touch. Nosecone's leg here is just Superion's leg with some Legacy Blitzwing tank treads glued to the side. We also have this part from Legacy Knockout just on the back, just to sort of fill in the leg and also give the leg a little bit more orange paint and white paint. And we also have this part from a knockoff of, I believe, Combiner Wars Scavenger. This is just where the drill will store on the leg. The paints for the legs includes orange, flat white, deck brown, black, dull red, and dark grey. Now we're moving on to Lightspeed's leg, which went through a little bit of a change. So originally I did use a Legacy Knockout piece for the leg, because it was the only car format I sort of had for the leg that I didn't really care about mangling and destroying, because the custom was originally a Swerve custom, but I grew to just dislike that custom because I don't like this mold. So I just used its parts for this custom and I don't mind it. But with the inclusion of Lightspeed version 2, I had to change it to make it more coherent and stuff with the car part. So we have this new wheel jack segment on here, and it is a bit gappy, and the wheels haven't been painted over properly anymore. So there are some changes I'm going to have to do with this custom leg, but I'm fine with how it looks for now. All 4 wheels are from Legacy Knockout, and the sides and the car window parts are from Legacy Knockout, while the front of the car is from Kingdom or slash Earthrise Wheeljack. I was originally going to have it hinge and stuff, but just due to how this all, you know, fits in and stuff, I couldn't have a hinge around. It just has to be super glued into place, which honestly was a nightmare to glue in, may I add. I don't know why, but it just was. Paint for the legs includes dull red, Italian red, gloss black, and pure white. Now we're talking about the actual chest component. So here we just have the regular old chest, which I do sort of want to change maybe, but I kind of just like the way it looks. Now, originally it wasn't going to have this white color separation here. Originally it was just going to be red, but I got a comment on my Reddit post and it just said maybe you should add some red over here to color break it. And honestly, yeah, he was right. I think it looks better with this white. Although it might not be accurate, it still looks amazing. Also on the crotch, I didn't paint this segment of the crotch or the flap, so you still have this weird gray plastic here and then the red plastic instead of red paint. And honestly, it looks fine. I mean, maybe in the future I will paint it, color match all of it, but it's not that noticeable, and I don't want to repaint this man. Although unfortunately on the side of the waist you can see a little bit of paint that I missed, so it does look like it's a bit fading at the back, but again, you won't see this on the shelf, so I'm not really in a fuss to sort of paint it. Also, another thing, I never added an Autobot symbol into this guy because I don't know where to put it. It just won't look right with an Autobot symbol. It's weird, but I mean, he does have Scattershot's Autobot symbol on the back, so I don't really mind. Also, I didn't talk about this in Scattershot's review because I wanted to save it for this review, but yeah, this is Computron's head. It's just Superion's head. I don't mind the battle mask because it's a neat reference to Combiner Wars, so I'm keeping it as it is. And yes, he does use gold leaf paint for the eyes. That paint should have been in Silverbolt's review, but I didn't really want to count that head as Silverbolt because it's not really visible in Silverbolt's modes. Paint for the chest piece includes Italian red, dull red, gold leaf, and pure white. Okay, so I have put this off for too long. We are going to finally combine Computron into, well, Computron. So we'll start with the arms first, as they're the most interesting parts of him. So we have Afterburner's arm here. And I did basically trim off a lot of these clips that are used for the aerial bot, because when it's a custom, there's a lot of tension and paint and thickness that you don't really need a lot of these parts. I only recommend maybe these ones down here and then this black clip. Same could be said for Strafe. I mean, Strafe has the better version where I just left these 2 clips intact and then the black one and then shaved off all the others. But obviously I did that. I did this after that one because I realized my mistake, but it still holds, it still combines. So taking in Afterburner here, splitting him apart, you just combine him by attaching the black and a little knob there, and that becomes the shoulder. And then you grab the foot or the rest of the arm really, and then just put it in, and then yeah, it fits. There we go, there's Afterburner. Then moving on to Strafe, it's pretty much just the same, but taking the back part here and just lodging it in, and then taking the top part and just lining everything up and then pressing in, and there you go, there's Strafe's arm. And obviously Strafe has guns, so I just clip them into these wings, sort of bulks it out a bit, and there you go, there's Strafe. Lightspeed doesn't really have any changes, but the only change you have with Nose Cone is you take Nose Cone's drill and then just plug this Devastator arm into the Devastator port, and then that should all peg into there, and then that just folds up, and there you go, you have the drill knee now. Cool. And obviously we need to actually fully combine him, so raising this up, we will get him in. So due to the differences I made on this, which I will be talking about later, you just have to ratchet the knee back to then get it in, and then fold that down. So there we go. Same on the other side. So there's that. Obviously deploy the ankle tilts. So that is the legs done. Try and raise the camera even more, just so you can see the arms. So just as Superion, you put them down. Weirdly, it does not scratch any paint on this thing, so that's actually really cool that it doesn't scratch anything. But yeah, you put that down, and there you go, Computron's whole thing. Dion's gun can probably just, not Dion, Afterburner's gun can just go in there or something. We're trying to zoom him out so you can see him all of his glory. Goodness. And then obviously you have his giant rifle here, which you can combine with the other smaller rifle, and then just plug that into his hand. And there you go. There's Computron. Yeah. Alright, and with everything combined, I will say this is definitely one of, if not my best custom I have done. The fact that I have made this from Age of the Prime's molds, it blows my mind that I made this. Like, Afterburner, I don't know how I did it, but it just looks like it came from like Hasbro factories or something. But yes, with everything combined, I am very happy with how this guy turned out, and he looks incredible on a shelf. And I know Hasbro will definitely make a Computron in the future, but the fact that I now have this in my collection and you don't, you don't understand how much this cost me. Oh yeah, and he still retains the blaster that came with Age of the Prime Silverbolt / Superion. It's just painted in Italian red, and yes, you can attach the Silverbolt gun, but it kind of looks a little bit weird because they're not matching in color. But I don't know, it looks like it's just an extended barrel tip that they just put on. Now, considering I am reviewing this figure, I may as well talk about Superion itself, the actual mold. And I like this mold. I know a lot of people don't like skeleton combiners, but honestly, I do not mind them. It's still fun to combine, and yes, it does take away the fact that the limb doesn't actually become the arm. It just goes on like a, you know, a slab. But hey, if I get better combiners than Combiner Wars, then I am completely okay with that. The only real gripe I have with this combiner is just the fact that the legs don't really combine onto it. I know I sort of just already said I don't mind, but they stick out way too far on the original custom, and they just, when you attach them, they inhibit articulation for the leg, and it doesn't even look nice. And I just wish that they sort of compressed into the leg a little bit more. And I feel like they just took what they did with Menasor and just redid it. But the fact that it works well with Menasor is because they're flat cars. They're not giant jets just folded up and crumbled into a little ball. Comparison time! Here he is with GENO, Super Megatron, Optimus Prime, Shockwave, Shattered Glass Optimus, and Bumblebee. But I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. Yes, there is a lot of color breakage with how Scattershock combines onto the chest. Yes, I did flip these little leg panels around. I thought may as well because, well, considering this doesn't transform anymore, I may as well give it some more artistic value. So I flipped these little parts around. They make the leg just a little bit better and also just gives it more stability for some reason. And in conclusion, I absolutely love how this guy turned out. It's just so cool to finally have a Computron in my collection that doesn't cost me $200, okay? And this custom will forever remain on my top shelf with all my beautiful Shockwaves, because he deserves to be full center of attention on my display, because I am a genius.